Hey everybody, it's Steve with Sky194, and I hope you're doing great today. And I sure appreciate you stopping by and taking the time to visit. And that car beautiful. That thing is so awesome looking. And we are here with the AMG EVO at Zandvoort, and something I haven't done in a while that I had a request for, and I was actually thinking about it anyway. But we're gonna see what we can do, trying to get prepared to my next round at Zandvoort, and of course, so we try to do a setup here for the car, which I don't hopefully won't be too bad. Hopefully, since that's not too much different from the regular AMG, other than just a little bit different balance. So I've already let's go over the setup to where basically this is everything is just the aggressive. The only thing I change is like I always do. I increase the fuel a little bit, which I'll increase it even a little more, just to give it more of an idea of what it's going to be. 65, 67 liters, and basically just turn the steering ratio all the way down. That's the only thing I've done. I haven't done anything else. Everything else is just the way it can, way it comes from the aggressive setup, as you can see. Um, so. Um, It's got a .5 aero variation to the front, which doesn't surprise me because, like I said, that's you got more air going to the front now with the EVO. So anyway, that's one thing I don't like here, though. I think I might change that. This traction control is just too low. But anyway, other than that, everything's the same. Fuel has got on number one brake or number one tires. So let's just do a few laps just to get acclimated again really quick here.
Green light. Go, go, go.
And then we'll start seeing if we can mess with the setup. Just taking you through basically what I do when I'm trying to get the setup going. The tires should be closed because I've already done basically some laps. You got the tires pressures correct, so they should be really close. And of course, the wind is low and the temperature is right around 24 or 25 Celsius. You gotta do at least a couple of laps to get some tire get some temperature in the tires. The aggressive feels really good. front's already getting hot. Do one more lap. But yeah, you can see it, you know, again, just kind of like the typical AMG, the left front gets hot. So definitely a concern, especially I haven't done that many laps. Pressures are off a little bit. Alright, that's good enough. Go back to the pits. I ran a 36.44 earlier, so I mean, I'm probably right there. But I definitely need to check my tires, so they're definitely off a little bit. Actually, the left front was pretty warm. So they're close. So we'll try it there. It really feels good. I mean, again, you know, running mid 36s is not bad for me at Zandvoort. You know, it's with a race fuel load. So it's, again, the aggressive is not a bad setup. So where do we go? I mean, what do we do? I mean, you know, you could leave it alone and just, again, just ride it out, or try to improve upon it and try to pick up some time, because I did run a good amount of laps before, and like I said, a 36.44, it's about all you're going to get out of it. You know, maybe a 30 something, maybe you could get another 10th, but I don't think you're definitely not going to get into 35s. I couldn't get into 35s with it. So, and that's really what my goal would be, is to try to get the car down into the 35s. So, you know, we need to look for at least a half a second, which is not going to, you know, be a little bit on the difficult side, where, you know, car is not handling bad at all. So let's look at the aero first. Of course, the brake ducts are already 4 and 4, and that's pretty good. I mean, that's not wide open, but I mean, that's not really bad. So let's work on the balance of the car. What can we do? Well, one, ride height is not bad, but again, if it's a little on the low side. I wish I could run less wing, so to get some more straightaway speed. And again, with Zandvoort, that last corner, again, is critical. If you've seen any of my prior videos, you have to be able to go through that corner, not just flat out, not just pinned, but almost to where the car is free, to where it's not even bogging the engine out. Because obviously, if the car's understeering and you can just crank more wheel into it, well, you could do that, but you're still gonna bind the car up, and you're gonna lose a little bit of performance getting onto the straightaway. So you want it to be as free as possible on that corner, through that long right-hand corner, so you can carry maximum speed down that straightaway, because that is without a doubt the best passing on the whole track. And the speed on the AMG is not real bad already, so it's pretty good. So you're right there with some of the other cars as far as speed wise. So you want to take advantage of it, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't bad at all. But it had a little bit of push to it, but it was nothing real bad. So obviously something minor. But of course the other problem is if you get too less of wing, then when you go down to the carousel down there, and you go driving down into that, the back end will wash out and you'll spin. So it's a real balance. It's a balancing act, for sure. So let's try raising the front up just one. So I knocked it down to 0.3, and we were at 0.5. So let's do that. Let's take one out of the splitter in the front. So now we're down to 0.2. And let's get this wing down one more. So now we're back up to 0.8. So that's not bad. Again, you just gained a little bit. And I'm going to go up one in the rear. So we're at 1.0. We're at 0.9 to 1.0. So that's probably going to be pushing it as much as we can. So let's try that. Hope I'm not going to go too fast for everybody. I've done so many of these. Sometimes I just most of the time know what I'm looking for and the feel I'm looking for. Bad for first lap. So hard to know what's going on because it takes a couple laps for these tires to get going. See, it's already getting a little loose through here. I'll have to watch that. When you're really fighting with somebody, it's easy to go through there real hard. Oh, no. So I have to back in, come around. front end still getting tires are still getting too hot in the front, so we're gonna have to tackle that, I think, because you're trying to go faster, and they're already getting left front's already getting overheated. Better. Don't look too bad though. Tires cool down a little bit, but it's still just a barely yellow. Temps don't look too bad. They're close. I picked up a teeny bit, but still, I mean, it's not where it needs to be. And again, you know, this is the arrow part, so I'm going to go back, actually back down here. So see, now it puts it back up to, or back down to 0.7 to 0.8. So I'm going to knock that down 1. That's not too bad. So I'll leave that alone for now. It's close. I mean, I might have to mess with it a little bit, but we'll leave it at that for right now and go on the other end, because on this track I like to run a staggered setup, and of course this is just even all the way around. So basically, let's look at the tire wear or tire temperatures. You got 7 degrees here, 6 degrees there, and this is from the inner to the outer, and that's about the max that I like to run is 7. I actually like it a little tighter than that, but I mean 7 is about the most I want to run. That's like 4 degrees. That's not bad on the back, because I like it tighter on the rear. Usually 4 or 5 degrees is about as much as I want to go. That's 4 degrees there and 5 degrees there, so that's not too bad. So I'm going to leave this alone, just drop this down 1, and this one I'm going to drop down 1 here and 2 here. So let's try that and see if that works. They already got the caster increased pretty good amount, so that's good. The toe is close, but again, see, that's one thing that heats up the tire, so I might just knock this down just a teeny bit. There, because I mean, so this also puts more negative toe you put. It does put some heat in the tire. So let's try that too, trying to get some of the relieve some of this heat off of this front tire. So we'll do that. We changed the camber just a teeny bit, put a little bit more tire on the ground. But I like, again, since you got these long right-handers, I like to stagger it and just run a little bit more negative, a little bit less negative camber on the right side to try to get some more grip. So we've tried that. Really, the rear, I did barely, just a few little teeny adjustments. And of course, that's the same. Let's change the brake pads to number 1s. Let's look at the tires. They look fine. Look good. So let's try that. So what we did is all we did is knock this down 1, and that's going to take some of the front aero variation back to the rear, and it knocked it down a couple tenths, so that helps a little bit. And then we took the tires and took a little bit of the negative toe out, and took a teeny bit, just a couple clicks of the negative camber on the front and the rear. So let's try it and go from there. And again, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find a good base setup to where, you know, you can adjust it from here. I mean, you know, this ACC is constantly changing. You just can't, there's no way you can make a setup so this works, you know, and everything. You have to make a setup that's good, but also taking into consideration how things change. The weather changes, you know, temperatures change, track grip changes. So many things change, and you have to be able to adjust the car to chase the track, you know, so you don't lose the handle, so to speak. So what I try to find is I try to get something that's right there in the middle, so somebody can, you know, they can take it and then they can just make a few little adjustments depending upon the track conditions, tire, you know, temps and things like that, and it'll work. And also something that's got maybe a little bit better feel, and hopefully better overall on a run than the aggressive. You know what I mean by that is, you know, if you go on do a 45-minute race or an hour over the whole stint, it's more consistent. I mean, that's what I try to do. You know, sometimes it's a lot better, and sometimes it's just a teeny bit better. It just depends. I mean, this aggressive setup is good. So we'll see what kind of gains that we can get. It. Tire's still getting a little warm. hot. It's gonna get hotter. Dang it. That hurt.
Well, man, this has been your muscle vessel.
Rotate. Yeah, it's not rotating the way I need it to. Definitely need to come down a couple degrees on the right side. A couple tenths, I should say. Let's see. I mean, knock this down a couple. I'll leave these left sides alone. Maybe one. Let's see, 5 degrees here and 4 degrees here. Yeah, see, that's just, I don't think it's liking it. So let's go back to where we were. And this here is still not cool enough. As far as this tire is still getting a little warm. But let's go the other way. Let's try that. And that. So let's try that. See how that works. So far, so good. We'll just leave it as it is so far. I mean, I did run a little bit better time, but it just doesn't feel the way I want it to feel. So let's look at this page, because this is definitely something. One, this is not enough anti-roll bar. I mean, you know, when you're on that, to me, it's not enough, because what happens is that's how you get some uneven tire wear on the front, and also in those really long, hard G corners, you know, the car is wanting to pitch and stuff like that. So this, to me, is not enough anti-roll bar. So let's increase it some. I mean, it can go all the way up to 11. Let's go to there. Let's double that, pretty much. Another thing, the AMG, and this is another reason why I'm thinking now. See, now looking at these springs, the AMG does not like heavy spring rates in the front. The old one didn't, and I'm betting the EVO don't either, because the AMG has got an anti-dive in the geometry of the suspension. It's the only GT3 car that has that, and that is from Aries at Kunos, so which I heard about it, but it's also in the sim. It's also in the sim, so modeled. So it again, it can get away with running softer spring setups on the front, and that's one thing will make the tires overheat is a stiffer spring. So I'm really thinking that this is not good here. Let's go down one click. Let's just try one click. Nothing super drastic. And let's raise the bump stop rate up, which is bump stop rate is range is way off. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try the bump stop. Since I decrease the spring, let's increase the bump stop rate. So you're on the brakes and things like that. It'll stay level. Let's leave the wheel rate in the rear alone for right now. It's not bad. Bump stop rate's not bad. Let's just tune this down. Okay. Any roll bar in the back, it looks good. Preload on the diff. I'm going to go up a couple. Let's just put a little bit more preload in it. So one tire does not wear more than the other. So let's go back over what we did. The only thing we changed the camber and a teeny bit of the toe, and we changed the negative camber, put it back up. And the mechanical grip, we went ahead and increased the anti-roll bar. Oh, I know what I want to do with the brake bias too. I want to turn this down just some. Let's turn the brake bias down to 59, get a little bit more rear brake in the action. And we softened the springs in the front, adjusted the bump stop rate and range. And basically the back, the only thing I changed was the bump stop range. Everything else I left the same. And we increased the preload on the diff a couple clicks. So that takes care of this page. And the shocks, probably could do a little bit here, but I'm not going to mess with it now. Let's just do this one category here and see how it reacts. Might have to make other adjustments accordingly. Sometimes it really affects your consistency, and as far as the sway bar and keeping the car level and flat and not getting it to pitch around, and also gets the tire wear consistent. I'm really curious to see if this left front will start getting hot. Love this EVO. This car really fits me well. I really love the AMG, and I know I love it even more now. Just a great car. right.
Well, don't make Russell fastest now.
Messed up that first corner, put me behind right off the get-go. Pretty good. I messed that up. This is over sliding. Left front still running a little warm. Go better through there. deep through there. Too late. Forgot the pit entrance was back there. Still need to lower the tire temp a little bit. Lower that down just a teeny bit. Raise that back up. I'm gonna try something different because it's just the feel again. It's just the back end is not feeling planted. So basically, I'm gonna go back up in the wing here in the back. So now we're down to 0.2. Which is less, you know, got putting more air on the back to get the back end. And I want to get more aggressive with the braking, but I can't because the back end's just not planted enough. So, you know, the AMG needs a little wing. It just, with this back end, it just doesn't, it needs, it's kind of like the Porsche. If you're doing a lot of curves, you got to have wing. But rest of it is not too bad. I'm not hitting anything, so I hate to raise the car unless I have to. It seems like I'm going around the corners, and it seems like it's not having any kind of issue with that. Let's just try one. I'm going to go up one here in the front, and then in the rear, I'm going to go up two. And so now we're up to 0.3. So I'm going to leave it at that. Trying to find the balance. And this I'm going to knock down to 58. Again, get a little bit more rear brake going. And tire-wise, we're back at 7 degrees here from inner to outer. This is 5. This is 5. And this is 4. So that's not real bad. So let's look at the tires. No graining or anything. Wear looks about normal. Left front's wearing the worst. That's normal. So let's try this and see how this goes on this package of the balance. Curious to see if this will work. I think we have the alignment right. The alignment feels good. But the thing is, I still wish I could get the temperatures of that front tire down. And everything I've done so far, the only thing I can do now next is the shocks. Which that'll be next. tires. Of course, with Zandvoort, the way it seems like in the past is, you know, you help one section and it hurts another. So it's always a compromise. You're always trying to find a balance of, you know, between all the different corners. Because I could go through here and do stuff to make it go through here really good and down through this carousel here. And then you end up hurting other places. So it's just, you know, you got to be it's so difficult trying to find that balance. See, right now it feels like it's understeering a little bit. Mistake. Just pushed right through that corner. Well, that's better. Got in our 35s. I don't think I ever did with the other AMG. great lap there. Mistake. They didn't go way off in the grass. Some air out of that right rear. Still feels like it's understeering through there. See, it's understeer. I need this thing to turn and rotate better than that. That's why that left front is cooking. Okay. It's just not rotating the way I want it to. I really do believe that this is all pretty good, but really, I really need to have some turn in. I don't have enough turn in, so I'm going to put this back because it really hasn't helped with the heat of the tires. So that's what this does. It helps with, if you run negative toe, it kind of helps a little bit with that initial turn in into the corners. So I'm going to do that. Again, that's 6 degrees. No, that's 7 degrees. That's 6 degrees. 4 and 5. So I think the alignment is correct. Now I am changing this. I'm going to put this back up too a little bit. So I'm changing this back to maybe get a little bit better entry. And we'll see how that goes. Because it's really not making a difference on the heat of the tires. I don't see a big difference. So still haven't got any graining or anything like that. But we got to get this thing to turn, to rotate more. That's the problem. The car just is not rotating the way I need it to rotate. Let's make a small adjustment here. Very small. Let's increase the rebound and the bump. And of course, that's especially when you're on the brakes into the corner, keeps the car steady. You know, you add a little bit to it, but of course, it makes it a little bit stiffer hitting the bumps. So it's a trade-off. So we'll just go up a couple clicks on that. And on the rear, actually doesn't look real bad. I think I'll just leave it alone for right now. We'll just adjust the front. On the aero, this is definitely the tricky part because it just does not, the car is not rotating the way I'm wanting it to rotate. So I got an idea. We can try excuse me, basically we'll keep this about the same. See, it's got 11 spots. So I really don't want to go much. I don't want to go much more on the wing. Maybe one more if I have to, but I really trying to keep that decent. Add the splitter back in. And add one on the ride height. Yeah, see that's gonna tank it all right there. Go back down in the front. So let's try this. So we basically did adjustments all the way around. One more on the splitter, one down on the front, get the front to grip, one up on the rear, and one up in the wing. And then I want to do one up here on the anti-roll bar. On both the front and the rear. I don't like that, no. I'm going to go one up in the front just to keep the front end solid. Let's add one to the diff. Let's put this back to where it was. Let's just try that. It's got more aero to the front now, so we're back up to 0.8. It might be too much. Let's just do 0.5 or 6. Let's try that. Just to take the splitter back. I'm trying to do a little bit smaller increments. I don't want to go up so much. So we went up to 0.7 on the front aero variation. And basically, I'm trying to get the front to grip a little bit more, slide less. But I'm trying to keep that balance to where the rear end will stay where it needs to stay. So let's try that. See, this can end up being a while to really get, and this is where the last 10-15% really gets to be, you know, just every little thing can make a difference. But this is why I say it can take me easy a couple hours. To get a good setup. Picked up a half a second, pretty much. I mean, we're really close to a half a second. So, but I would really like it to get even farther down than that. I'd really like it to be more like a 35.7 or something like that. Right now we don't have enough front end grip to get this thing to turn course, then that also creates some heat in the front tire to where it's getting hot. If you're just sliding the front tire, see, it feels like it's turning better now. The tires aren't even up to temperature. It feels like it does feel like it's turning a little better. That's what I'm wanting. One good thing about the AMG, you can help get the car to turn and stuff like that in those tight corners with the throttle. Understeering here. The tires aren't up to temperature. Goes over the bumps good. Backwards. Still not wanting to turn. Increasing it, it's just not wanting to turn. lost all my time right there, and the tire's running. It's running definitely hotter now. My tires are getting too hot. This is just not working. So I need to knock these down a couple. I say it seems like every one of them is getting too hot. In fact, I ought to go down even one more. They're all equal, so that's good. But they're just getting a little bit too hot. That's 8 degrees now. See, that's 8 degrees, 5. So that's really getting long. Throw a little more caster in it. These are 5 and 5, so they're good. Nothing wrong with that, but it's definitely not. Let's go down. This still feels like it's not rotating the way I need it to rotate. So we got 2 ways that you can fix that. I mean, I don't want to lower the front anymore. That's as low as I want to go. If anything, I wouldn't mind going back up one, because of some of the stuff you can hit. So actually, I'll raise that up one and raise that up one. So that, try to get a little bit more height there in case you run over stuff. But we need to get this more aero variation on the front to get the car to turn. Now I could take some wing out of it and that'll definitely knock it up. Let's try that. So we're at 1.0. Let's run a teeny bit more diff. Take some of the sway bar out of the back, because this is definitely going to make the rear end happy. It's going to start dancing around, and which it helps get the car to turn. But with us increasing this a good amount, we've doubled our front aero variation. The front end's going to want to turn probably really good now. So let's just try it and see how it goes. And I'm going to go back to this again too, because they did. I guess it did make a difference because they were running hotter. So let's go back. Let's go back to that. Try to cool the front tire off. I could run one more brake duct. Let's try that. So we did enough changes. Changed all this again. Raised the ride height. Raised the front. Raised the splitter. Well, lowered it, whatever you want to call it. Rear wing, take one out. So we increased our front aero variation by double, from like 0.67 up to 1.2. So that's going to be, we'll see if it even works. Took some of the anti-roll bar out to keep the rear end from sliding, because since we added all that aero part of it. So we took some of that, took just one bar out of that, one adjustment out, and added just one click of the diff to keep the tires driving equally. So let's try that. See where we're at. Hope I'm not boring everybody. Hopefully we're getting about done soon if this is working. But like I said, I try to make good setups for everybody, and I try to, you know, that they work. And, you know, race setups. I mean, that's what I look, you know, want a setup that can run 30, 45 minutes at least, good without being a total tank. Feels pretty good. Cold tires. Get slick through here. That's the thing. It's really challenging. That feels really good, really for cold tires. But it can be so slick through there. Just the car slides, and I don't want it to do that. This track isn't a super fast track, so having again, I'm not afraid to raise the car up to get it to work right. It's going to actually help it, not hurt it. Feels good. Gotta be careful with this brake since I don't have so much, wing on it. Straight's fine, but you turn it, you gotta be careful. Tire's not too bad. It's a little warm, but it's not real bad. bad, but now my tire pressure seems like they're a little too much, too down. So I tell you, it's constantly chasing them, constantly. That was my fault. Sliding again through here. Track temp's coming up, but I mean, I need to raise. Left rear is good, but everything else needs to come up now. Like I said, it's constant chasing tire temperatures. All right, let's see what we got. This one, I think the left rear was okay, but all these other ones needed to come up. They were too far down. I know, it's, like I said, dog chasing my tail. Let's see. There we go. Let's leave it at that. So hopefully those are correct now. Uh, 5 degrees there, 4 degrees there, only 3 there, and 4 there. So increase this one more. Increase this just one more. Still, the tires look good. I mean, as far as the wear, they look fine. But, you know, let's look at the timetables. So I've done 36 laps. 35.93 is my fastest. I mean, I was running 36.20s, 30s, you know, and I messed up a couple times. So it's just, That's not where I want to be. I need to be down around 30, low 36s or high 35s. So again, it's that last few tenths, especially consistently hitting it, not just one time, um, it's really tough. I think, and I really didn't like this because the car just felt the back end again just felt too slidey around, sliding around. So you can't really get aggressive. So I'm gonna do like a high downforce setup, and see how that works under the same circumstances. Try to keep this aero variation like around 1, but have a high downforce setup. So let's see. Let's increase this to 8. Now you see how it went all the way down to 0. So let's increase this up to 80. That's 0.7. There. So let's try this. That's about the max wing that I want to run. Because it only goes to 11, and I don't want to go that high. And 80 on the rear ride height, and 49 in the front, and a 7 splitter. So that, trying to get this front end to turn the way I want it to turn, but yet have the rear end still feel somewhat secure and not dancing all over the place. The diff, let's turn it back down. I'm going to turn it back down to 80 because I don't think it's helping. So let's turn it back down to 80. Leave everything else the same. So let's go over what we adjusted. We adjusted the camber just a teeny bit, just one click on everything. Just one, added one click of negative camber on everything, which that's probably the most I've ever run on an AMG. Electronics, fuel, basically took 2 out of the diff, and that's because, again, to get some of that sliding going on with the back end, and it's not, the back end's not wanting to turn, and so what it's doing is locking up the back end, and it's just wanting to slide. So let's get the back end turning a little bit better. Shocks aren't that bad, so they're the least of my worries. It's hitting bumps pretty good. It's decent. And then the big adjustment on the aero, knocking this down 1, and the ride height at, raising this up to 80 with a rear wing of 8, and the brake ducts at 5 and 4. Since the temperature is always coming up here, it's up to 30 now, so it's getting a little hotter. And of course, that's harder to get it to run a good time also because it's getting hotter in the day. So let's see what she does with this. But usually the AMG likes more wing. It's just one of those things. I mean, unless you're doing a Monza where it's just pretty much point and shoot. You're not doing anything else. I want it to feel good through here because you get aggressive through there, and I don't want the to slide out. And again, this is a race setup, so. Sorry it's taking so long. It's just, again, You know, if I get to a point where I'm really happy with how it feels and the time, then I'm good with it. But I don't really feel that way. That's another thing you can do. I mean, if they kind of go hand in hand as far as the diff and the wing. So something to keep in mind, you know, if the wing, if you run less wing, you really, most of the time on most cars, not all the time, but a lot of times you have to run more diff to keep the back end straight, keep it going. Certain instances you don't have to do that, but it's just a large majority of the time, you're basically, if you run very little, you know, run less wing, you're going to have to run more diff. Of course, with a Ferrari, you got to run a lot of diff all the time anyway. But I'm, you know, talking in general terms. But on the second hand of that, if you run more wing, you can get away with less diff. You can't just run, you know, you can't run nothing, but I mean, you can turn it down a little bit to get it to help it turn. Yeah, see, it feels pretty good there. Instead of pushing out with the diff locked up fast. Wide. Not bad. Better. Tires look good. The left front's barely turning yellow, so that's better than it was. Blew it. That's still a good lap. Not bad. Losing time right there. deep. Too deep. Turning good through here. Okay, let's do one more lap. Not bad. I mean, not after, you know, how many laps. Still running low 36s. It's not bad. I think it's a good raceable setup. 2.62. I need to figure out the mileage on that too. 2.62. Let's take a look at that last. I did 46 laps. Let's take a look at that last one. Oh, that's the one before that, but we'll get to the next one. So it basically takes 77, 78 liters to do this. So, and I'm starting off with like 67, I think I started off with. So it only needs like about another 10 liters, 10, 11 liters, and you could do a 45-minute race. You did an hour, it would take 101 liters. So that's not too bad. Not bad for an hour. Doing good. Seems like it's getting better mileage than it was before. Seems like it. Car looks good. Staying flat. But actually, this is probably about what it takes. Usually it's an hour and a half or so to get a decent setup. The one that I, sometimes longer than that. Sometimes cars, it takes 2-3 hours to get a, you know, something really decent. And of course, that was not my best lap. It was a 36.15. Still a good lap for how long. let's take a look at one more time. Let's take a look at the setup. See if there's anything on the no graining, no nothing. So there's no graining, flat spots, anything. And it's wearing the left front more than the rear, but not bad. I mean, really, it's not bad. And here it's actually wearing the right rear more than it is the right front. So that's different, but that's just the way this track is. But it's really not bad. So considering the AMG, so again, I'm happy with that. Yeah, and I had 67 liters, so yeah, you only need another 10, 12 liters, and you could do 45 minutes. So that's, again, it's really a race setup, but I'm really happy with it, and I'll make this a setup. And again, they all start with 6 because that basically coincides with the update 1.6, and I'm going to do is 0.1, which is the first variation of it. So that's how I'm going to do my setups from now on, so everybody knows what they mean. There you go. Of course, the next variation could be 0.2, 0.3, whatever, but it'll always have Sky 6 here, and that's just to show if once they get to if they ever have another update of 7, then I can go to 7, and I'm gonna start doing that way, so we can keep track of what is what. So that is the setup. I know it was a long time, and I'm sorry about that. I sure hope you enjoyed it, though. Hope you, uh, you know, hope I didn't go too fast and communicated it okay. If you have any questions, just ask in the comments below, and I'll do the best to answer you back. And I sure hope you join me for my next video, whichever that'll be coming out. And I hope everybody has a great day and takes care, and we'll see you the next time. Bye.